may as well just get into it. And
now arriving at Illios.
now live, just gonna be. I'll sit and see if anybody decides, oopsies, to come in. Oh, we're up against the legend Torpidity, best DPS in tier 2. So yeah, all eyes on him. You know. Just gonna give it a second, and I mean, for anybody watching back, this is gonna be annoying, but oh well. Should have been here live, and then you wouldn't miss anything. Although my YouTube isn't loading now. There it is. Oh, I can see my screen. I have 1 message and 0 viewers. How is that fucking possible? Okay. Okay, I can see Minnie's here, and I know the other viewer is myself, so it's just me and you for now, Minnie. But we'll go on with it. I'm assuming you're going to be running Zombie Comp. It's the right map to be running Zombie Comp. Ruins is, or Illios in general, quite a good Zombie Comp map, and Zombie being very good comp for tier 2, and just being able to. It's basically just about a rush on this map, but going to be watching. So I'll basically explain who I'm going to be watching and what I'm going to be looking for. So I'm going to be looking for Mini, seeing his engages, seeing where you're going to be positioning, because positioning for your tank line on this map is going to be heavy. I'm also going to be looking at basically everybody, because I've given you all a few tips and I've been away for like a week and a half, and first time I've come back for a week and a half, so going to be looking at see how much you've improved, especially Mac, because I gave him lots of tips on the D.Va. Saren as well, gave you some information coming out on the Moira, and also a little bit on the Baptiste, so I'm going to be looking out to see if you play Baptiste on any other maps. Yeah, so we'll be seeing what we come out on. And yeah, Aber and Unflux, I think if you want to really hear anything from me, I'm just going to you probably want to go through this again with me, because I can try and coach you DPS, especially Aber on the Sombra, but it's much harder to coach the DPS on a method like this, so I'm going to watch it from this view. Okay, so here they've taken the bridge. This is fine, but yeah, I like what Mini's doing here. He's trying to get below them. Just before you get close to them, take account of what their composition is, because they're running the Cassidy Reaper. Running like close to them here is probably not good, because the flash and the Reaper shots is just going to be deadly. What I'd recommend doing here in this situation, let's say you come statue, great rotation, you get that mega control hacked, you get all of this position controlled, but you don't want to play pokey. I'd rotate around here and see what they do. You can play this, because this is much more cover. Play around here, this is much better. If they decide to go all the way over there, you can basically wait here until they go on the point, and then engage on them when they go on the point. If you basically control around the point on this point, you can win the fight as soon as they go onto the point. Somebody's got to go onto the point, and Mac is the D.Va, as the D.Va is probably better off being on point and pressuring point, but point isn't unlocked for 11 seconds. You don't need to take point yet. And if they get first control, as long as you win the fight, it doesn't matter. So yeah, just here, go around and kind of hide. If they come back, you get to control this choke. This is, if they come back and try and fight you here, they lose in this corridor against what you're running. They're going to really struggle to get out of here, and if they do get out of here, they get blown up anyway. So realistically, if you're playing this position, their options are play here or here, and both ways you win that fight, or should do anyway. So yeah, I can see you playing under here. The fact that you've all done it, it's not the optimum move, but you've all done it together, and that makes it better than nothing. It genuinely, you're playing together, so it's still like, it's way better than nothing. Nice little boot from Mac, and yeah, just playing underneath them, they drop backwards. Yeah, so Abra, you want to be looking for hacks onto the Reinhardt, which I believe you're trying to do anyway. Without the shield, they're going to be really vulnerable. Also, like Abra especially, and you and Mac have similar jobs in this composition. If there's like a flanker, like if the Reaper TP's over here, Mac needs to be hearing for it, but Abra, if you can get a hack onto him, he's dead. Or like somebody who's really feeding into your team, a hack onto them. Hacks in like zombie comp, hack is used as more of a punishment. Like in a situation like this, you can use it to engage, but you can also use it to punish. So punish bad positioning and stuff like that. And in this tier, I'd expect it to be punished. They've wasted their lamp really early, and yet just playing point here. I don't think you should push in. Just leave them. Yeah. They're trying to poke you out on a brawl comp, and you should win this. This is where your target focus has gone. They've split pushed you, and you don't know what to do. This situation, their Baptiste and Lucio are here, their tanks are here. I want to see you run onto these guys. Like speed. This is where Patch Gaming should not be on heal boost. I know he's not a Lucio player, but speed boost onto them. Mini's half health, but you should be okay. This is where the tanks should die. Okay, we've got B. Ryan's died. Okay, this should be a fight win. Basically from the start. From where they played and how they played it, they just didn't play very well. But still, well played fight, long fight as well. So yeah, Saren does fall. So this is important to recognise. You've got no Moira going into the next fight, so always keep an eye on that kill feed. Just recognise that Saren isn't here. So realistically, on zombie comp, you can like take this high ground and kind of hold this area, but with no Moira, you want to be playing here and basically disengaging as soon as possible, so that okay, that's it, perfect, well played. Disengaging as soon as they come in, just to let Saren come in. High Noon comes up. I'm going to be watching Mac here. Nice DM, beautiful DM, just denies the High Noon, and then the EMP comes in and cancels it, and that's a 6-man EMP. If you lose this fight, I'll be amazed. Yeah, okay. In this composition, you're not using Bomb with EMP, you're using Bomb with Death Blossom. And you've just commit Coalescence. This is where I can see that your comms either weren't quite there, or or I say weren't quite there. You hadn't really planned this fight out. Sorry, you hadn't quite planned this fight out with the ult tracking, expecting them to come in and use the High Noon or the Shatter. That's probably what I would have expected them to come in and use. But also, you want to be using EMP with Blossom most of the time. Coalescence I like off the back of the EMP because you haven't got the Death Blossom. But the Bomb wasn't strictly needed. You should win this on the back of the EMP and Coalescence though. Yeah. And pro resets. Oh, the drains outside my house are clogged or something. It stinks. Okay, this is something I'm going to be watching Mini and Unflux. You've got the Primal Rage and you've got the Death Blossom. Try and just get a Death Blossom off this fight. Basically, you go for an early Death Blossom. If it doesn't work, you've got Primal to stall it out. But you've used 3 ults that fight, and you're not very close to that beat. And whereas they've got Beat, Shatter, Death Blossom and Bomb. Again, just be tracking that Mini. I know he's got the ability to block Rhine shatters with his monkey bubble. I've seen it before. Abra as well. If you know they've got stuff like Death Blossom, High Noon, Beat, and stuff like Hack can interrupt all of those ults. So if you know that an ult's going to be coming out, try and hack the target when you think they're going to go for an ultimate. Because even the 8 seconds on the hack, it denies that ultimate for 8 seconds in this version of Sombra anyway. You can hack them when they're engaging looking for an ultimate, and sometimes it especially in this tier, if you can throw the enemy team off by denying one thing for 8 seconds, can usually win you the fight. They don't know what to do. That's unlucky about Abra. Shatter, I literally said it. Mini has the ability to block shatters with bubbles. There it is. Although really good reactions actually. Unflux has Wraith formed and Max flown to avoid it. But yeah, losing Sarin here is really unlucky. Probably lose this fight because of it. Unless Unflux pulls off some kind of miracle. Nice DM eating up Death Blossom, but yeah, you got 99%. I would just jump off. Patch especially, just get out or jump off the map. Yeah, okay. Cool. And yeah, so you know what ults they've used? They've used Death Blossom, they've used Shatter. So that means they've still got Beat and Bomb, and they're coming up on that window. They should have the window realistically. At this point, it's been 2 or 3 fights where they've not used window, and they should have window at this point. You're coming up on Beat, Death Blossom, and Primal. Don't use the Death Blossom and Primal at the same time. I've seen it before where Mini does it and he primals people away from the Death Blossom and the Death Blossom gets no value and stuff like that. If you're going to use the Death Blossom and Primal at the same time, Mini, it's really important you know where Unflux is. Yeah, but the comms are really, really important here on knowing where your teammates are. So Mac hasn't respawned yet, so you don't want to be going in quite yet. And yeah, Crow, sorry, Abra, like I said in the last fight on the Sombra, you've got really good ability of shutting down ultimates. Crow, if you know they've got the Diva Bomb coming into this fight and they think they're down on ultimates or something like that, you can always hack the Diva. And the Diva hack is also really, really powerful because Diva then has no DM. It also works in conjunction with Unflux, so you can look for the Diva hack when Unflux is calling that he's going for a Death Blossom or something like that, which he should be calling. If he TPs to this high ground, say, to drop in and Death Blossom, you need to be looking to hack the Diva. And then, yeah, another thing of Mac, when Unflux goes for this Death Blossom, I want you to DM Unflux, because the Reaper, the Baptiste, the Cassidy especially, he's got the flashbang, and if you DM Unflux, anything that comes towards Unflux is going to get eaten. And so yeah, it's really, really hard to flash a Reaper while there's a DM on him. So this is, I've seen that you've told me that you're getting better at eating the ultimates from the enemy team and tracking that. The next thing to learn off of that is learning what you can do for your team in their ultimate. So Cassidy, when he high noons, DM him. Reaper, when he's Death Blossoming, DM him. If your Sombra's in range and is going to MP, you can DM them. It's like it's learning to use your DM to protect your teammates when they're going to ult, as well as learning to hold your DM for when the enemy's going to ult. It's DM management is basically all of Diva, and it is very boring, but it's a skill. It's very difficult to learn. It's very difficult to learn, and it takes a lot of time. But yeah, overall, shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, and I will be watching to see if you do it. I don't know if you will. There's the bomb coming out. Nobody should die to that. Sarin, why did you use your... What did you use your fade for? Okay, why have you faded here? I know it's scary and all, but one thing I'll say is on Moira, fade you basically want to be stood behind your tanks at all time. You were stood here facing them. You kind of want to be here. I know they've jumped up there, but here is still a safer position, which you recognise, but you faded to this position. And with your fade, it's another thing of tracking what ults they've got. So you can use your fade reactively. If you know they've got bomb, you can stand here for free when they've got bomb, if you've got fade. If you've not got fade and you know they've got bomb, you want to be stood over here. You want to be hugging a corner or stood on next to a wall or something like that, because as soon as that bomb comes out, you need to be able to take cover because you don't have fade. So yeah, it's really important, Saren, to know your or to track the ultimates that are going to be a threat to you. Same as it's basically, if I can teach you all to track the ultimates that are threatening to you, you can counterplay the enemy team so easily, because they're just going to throw ultimates out and expect it to get value. And if you can counter that ultimate before it even comes out, they're not going to find any value with their ultimates, and you're going to stomp them every single time. So yeah, tracking their ultimates, but it's recognizing this, recognizing when they've got bomb, what do I need if their bomb comes here? If that bomb comes here, what do I need? I need fade. Okay, if that bomb comes here and I'm stood here, what do I need? I need to walk around this corner. It's just, yeah. I think you get it, but it's just knowing that. And yeah, you did waste your fade, but it's fine. You can waste your fade in a comp like this, at this level anyway. But it's just fading into a safe position. You can't fading into here is not a safe position. Fading to like here or the other corner is a safe position. So yeah, fading into a safe position. Fade should be used as basically a get out of jail free card, for a bit of safety. So now you're coming up on 5 ults. I hope you see that. They're going to be countering it. You have EMP Blossom. That is the combo I want to see coming out, because then Primal and Beat can be used in the cleanup. Primal can be used in the cleanup. I don't want to see Beat or Bomb be used this fight, plainly because if they manage to stagger onto the point and come in late, you've got Beat and Bomb. Bomb can be used at the very end of the fight to clean up. Bomb can be used to be cleaning up. Actually, it's 99%. But Beat, I don't want to see being used. I know I'm not coaching Patch, he's not on the team, but I don't want to see Beat being used, basically. And EMP Blossom should be communicated here. There's the EMP. Okay, you're bombing, blossoming, Beat. Yeah, you're just dropping everything in. Okay. So, again, communication issue. Mac, Abra, I don't know who it is, but I think it's Mac in that, because the Death Blossom comes in afterwards. Okay. If you're going to EMP bomb, you bomb first. That's how EMP bomb works. Because both times that you've EMP bombed, you EMP'd first. You bomb first, then you EMP. It's how the bomb EMP works. I know, Mac, you struggle with it because I've fucked up my EMP before waiting for you to bomb. You bomb first and then you EMP as the bomb's going to explode, because that means they get no time to react. They think they're safe behind their shield and then the shield's gone. Stuff like that. That's the power of EMP bomb, and by EMPing first, you lose the power of the EMP bomb. You lose that surprise factor. EMP Blossom is similar, but you don't blossom first. You EMP Blossom is how you've basically just done it. You EMP and then you go in and blossom. But yeah, you have to bomb first. I don't know what it is. You should win this fight though. That was a quick, fast, so really easy cleanup, quick fight. And yeah, they just didn't use ults. You played that much better than they did though. Any questions? We've got 30 seconds. If you've got any questions. No, and if you've got any question, I'd actually rather that you have questions because it means that you are actually thinking about it. Hey, I love this. This is this is me. I'm taking credit for this. I'm taking credit for this mini. Um, I know it's you who called it, but it's me who called it originally. Do you remember? Do you remember back when I called it? You beautiful sack of shit. Um, yeah, this is for those who don't know, who haven't been told by Mini in this exact moment, it's quicker to get to cage by going through this top door. You will always beat them going this way. In Overwatch League, they go through this door. The only difference is they TP out. They TP to like these stairs here. They TP here and then they speed. But it's a small thing of speed. Like, if you know it's going to be really competitive, if you know that you're up against a really, really good opponent and you're scared, like Nerd Emoji maybe, I'd recommend trying to TP out and learn the TP strat. You TP to here, I think it is, from the door, and then switch to Reaper and catch up, or Sombra, depending on who's more. Because realistically, they're both fairly agile. And yeah, it's just so much quicker to go this way. And also, going this way, you have the option to then stand on the high ground for like Lucio and yeah, all of that. But yeah, you can get to the cage so much quicker going this way. And cage control is what you want for zombie, because this cover is invaluable. Like, you can bait them into this area, and that's a kill zone for them.
I need this later.
And just to quickly explain, I wish I was doing this through my PC and through Discord, but I can't, because then I'd be able to draw on the screen and I could show you. So basically, a kill zone is the area that you want the enemies to go into to kill them. And it's an area where the enemies will be vulnerable. There's much higher level to it, but it doesn't really matter. At this level, the higher level ideas of kill zones, that's more like I'd say masters levels kill zones. I'd say basically this isn't a kill zone because it's harder to kill them. Or actually no, sorry, I take that back. Kill zones adapt and flow. So kill zones change depending on where the fight's happening. So if you're stood here and the fight's happening in here, the kill zone is like this corner. If somebody stands in this corner, they're easy pickings because they have to go all the way around here to get out. If they get cage control first and you're stood here, kill zone is probably round here or basically where you're stood. Kill zones are basically where the enemy's feeling. That's the basic. That's the very, very dumbed down version. Quick tip, Saren. On the Moira, I see you immediately throw out your damage orb. What I'd recommend is don't immediately throw your damage orb out, because the D.Va will almost definitely look to DM as soon as you get into a fight. The enemy D.Va will always DM as soon as you get into a fight, as soon as you engage. If you hold on to that orb until you see the DM die, you can throw the orb into her and she can't eat it for half a second. And then if she's going to eat it, she's got to turn around to eat it, and she's putting a lot of effort and attention into one damage orb. But that's the difference between you getting to 10% and you getting to 5% in this time. You could be 15% to ult already. It's just a minor detail, but your orbs are going to get shut down by that D.Va, and so if you track, or don't track, but when you can see the D.Va ahead of you and she's using DM, or you're getting into a fight like this, you're expecting the DM, or if you're getting into a fight like this, expect the DM and then hold it for a second and then use it. And it also means that you can think a bit about it, because you can come in with your orb, and if Mini takes a ton of burst damage, or all of your frontline takes a ton of burst damage, you can stand here, bounce a heal orb against these walls, and your team gets healed up. And it's just a minor thing of that learning that little bit of patience. But I do like about the engage. You get cage control. You get this mini pack hacked. It's good to call that this pack is hacked, because then it means that like Abra, Unflux, Saren can use this health pack. I don't. It's because it's a mini. Tanks shouldn't be using it, especially since there's a Moira. Tanks shouldn't be using this mini pack. Mini pack heals, I think, 80 health, I want to say, and it's basically useless to. Is it 100? Might be 100. How many maps are being done? I'm doing this one for now. What time is it? I start work at 3, so I might find chance to do King's Row. It basically depends how quickly this map goes. So this is a situation where that Rhine needed to be hacked. So I don't actually know if you had hack online. Yeah, you did. You hack the Lucio. Yeah. So this is a situation. You hack the mini. You can stand in here and poke. And if that Lucio comes around the side, shoot him. But you want to be hacking their Rhine coming in here, because the Rhine does exactly what he wanted to do. He pins your monkey, and then you just fall apart because of it. So it becomes a very hard fight to win then. Yeah, they did well in that fight. Yeah, and you just back out. I'll try and go a little bit quicker so that we can actually get onto King's Row and get through King's Row. I don't actually know if you go onto the third map here. Right, so here I want to see you go this top right. I want to see you set up here. Because it's not hard, rotate out round, but if you're respawning, you come up these stairs and you can go straight across this bridge and take that high ground. This high ground is really, really powerful for people like Saren. Basically just for Saren. But stood up here, she's safe in comparison to stood down here. She's so much safer stood up there. And if you're all stood there, you're still in range to get healed, and you're still in range. And when you go aggro into this room, she can drop down. But this is just a better place to be playing, a better place to engage on. For Saren anyway. So rotating the high ground just sets her up. Okay. Just having a look. Great shatter. Brilliant shatter coming out. Okay, the hack onto the Diva Abra, that's just unlucky about the Cassidy. On the Sombra, always be looking out for Cassidy. He's your threat. As you can see here, he's just taking you out with a flash. With a flash and a shot, he's just taking you out. So yeah, it's be conscious of where he is. It's going to come back to the point that I always bring up in these VOD reviews. If you know where all the enemies are, it's very easy to outplay them, because it's learning to track where they are. So it layers. The game is very layered. The game is very layered and very complicated. There's many layers to the game, and each layer gets more complicated than the other. And you have to think about each layer at the same time. Don't worry too much about thinking about all the layers at once. Try and concentrate on one. When you get good at one layer, you can learn the next, and so on and so on. It's about slowly learning and accepting as well that while you're learning one layer, you're going to be worse at other things. While you're learning to ult track and counter ults and stuff like that, you're going to be worse at just general positioning, stuff like that, because you're not thinking about it as much, you're concentrating on your ults. But as soon as you learn it, it becomes much easier to then integrate it into your gameplay and learn it further. And learn something else, and also like expand on your gameplay. But once you learn it, it's going to be solidified there. You'll always think about it when you're playing without even noticing. Same with this, recognizing your threats and where they are. In this situation, Abra, the Cassidy's down to your right, and you didn't realise he was there. It's very easy just not to realise that he's there, but it's hard to engage onto a fight without knowing where all the enemies are. This comes in handy when they want to flank. When they've got a Reinhardt with a Shatter who wants to be on the flank. When they've got a Cassidy or with High Noon who's on the flank. If you know that there's 6 players here, and you can see that before, you can see 6 players long before you get into a fight. You can see where they are, you can hear where they are even. Yeah, and it's just tracking who is dangerous to you. D.Va, Reinhardt, Lucio, Baptiste, I wouldn't say they're dangerous to you, Abra. Cassidy and Torb, I'd say they're pretty dangerous. Torb more so because of his turret. That just really, really annoying. But the Cassidy especially, he's somebody that you want to be watching 24/7. You want to always know where he is, because you can hack to interrupt his High Noon, and he's got the flashbang. He's got that flashbang that's dangerous to you, and if you uncloak, or decloak, sorry, if you decloak where he's in range to flash you and then get a shot on you like this, which is actually quite a nice shot. He's out of position here, but it's not gonna be capitalized on because he's got that kill. If he didn't get this kill here, he's dead, or he should be anyway. His team might feed with him and then he's alive, but they're idiots for letting you cap as well. Yeah, it's just keeping track of where your threats are, and making sure that as long as you know where your threats are, you're safe. This is going to be a hard fight to take. They've got 2 longer range characters, and you're down 1 DPS, and you've got a Reaper. This is going to be a hard fight to take, because the position here is really difficult. I'd like for you to rotate around and take Cage this way, but it's very possible that they just walk out on you. At the same time, there's 4 players here and both their supports here. Their supports have no idea what's going on. Speed on their supports. I've only just realised the massive split on their team. You go on their supports, run into Cage. That Baptiste dies. He has to die here. There's a window. Although you have taken the rotation that I wanted you to take, you've not all taken it. There's 2 people who didn't get the memo. And I've just heard Saren use her fade, so she's now going to be stuck. Where? Here? She's going to be stuck here, completely out of range of you, for the next 6 seconds. Is that right? 6? Yeah, 6-ish. Coalescence, you could pop Coalescence here. You're down 1, they've used window. And realistically, nobody's there to stun you. You can't be stunned out of this if you Coalescence this. Also, something that I do, I look to cancel the Coalescence with, or with Coalescence cancel. And I messed that up quite a few times. Just be aware of that, Lucio. Be careful of being booped. Nice target focus, but yeah, I would probably just give in to this fight. Just playing for stall. Okay. Okay. What the hell? No. Oh my god, there's no way you win this fight. Okay. I don't know what to say. You shouldn't have won. You shouldn't have won that fight. I don't know how you won that. I'm gonna call it their idiocy. How did you win that fight? Suiting up. I'm so confused on how you've won that fight in the slightest. Right. So, they've got the window here, you LOS it. You've got no main source of healing with you. They should just push on to you guys. They should just fuck you guys up, really. Which they try and do. But they don't do it with a speed boost. Where's their Lucio? Where the fuck's their Lucio? Oh, there he is. Their Lucio's throwing. If their Lucio was there, you're dead. Mini dies here to the high noon. You've got Coalescence still going. They've got no target focus. They don't know who the fuck they're shooting at. Okay, now they decide to shoot at Sarin. And then they change their mind and decide to shoot at Mac. Their Baptiste is there. Crow fucks up his bomb. Mac's got no mech. Okay, so half the team goes on to Unflux, and the other half of the team... I don't know what... Half the team's here, half the team's here, and another bit of the team that's left is there. Where the fuck their Lucio is, Oh, their Lucio's in spawn. He died. Okay. Wow. They should have Wow, they're bad. Okay, you shouldn't have won that fight. They played atrociously there. I feel like I could coach them more in this VOD than I could coach you guys. They played that so horribly. Oh my god. Okay, coming in, again, you've just used Death Blossom and Bomb. You've got EMP, you've got Primal, and you've got Beat. You want to be using Beat defensively. Generally, because you should know that you're down on ults, so you want to be looking to beat second. So the team that usually beats second wins the fight. So if they engage with Beat, which they probably will, if you wait about 3 or 4 seconds, then Beat. This is to any Lucio player that's watching, Jasper if he's here. You want to be beating 2 or 3 seconds later if you're down on ults. If they've got more ults than you, but you're not using your ult to counter an ult, let's say. So if they've not got High Noon, they've not got Bomb, that they're not going to really have Shatter. You don't really need to use Bomb. You don't need to use Beat to counter Shatter either. It's like in this situation, Beat is more useful as an aggressive ult than a defensive ult. So if you've got no ults to counter with it, you can, and you're down on ult, or you're up on ults actually, but if you've got no reason to counter it, you may as well use it in a more effective way. Let them use Beat first. Bait them into a bad position, basically. Let them use Beat, speed onto you, you kite them, Beat, and then re-engage onto them when they're in a bad position. For example, they use Beat in this corridor and speed out onto this. When they're stood here, if you've kited all the way back here, you can then drop Beat, jump in on them. This is an atrocious position for them to be stood in, but they will go into it if they've got Beat armor. That's the thing. That's the strategy going into this fight. You've also got EMP. If they use Beat, you can EMP and then Beat and engage. Primal engage as well. You could even hold the Beat. There's plenty of options for plans here. What I want to see is that you've actually got a plan, because it's very possible you just use all 3 ults and then you're down on ults for the next fight. You don't want to be using all 3 here. You want to be winning this fight with 1 or 2 ults. Beautiful EMP, nothing else. Nothing else. That's such a big EMP, you win that fight without anything else. Target focus is there. They use Beat as well, and they don't even need it. And you've won that fight with Beat alone. And it's fine that Mini has died, because he's monkey, he respawns quick and he'll be back quick. Really well played. That's really, really well played. And also realise, look at the ult charge you've got now in comparison to what you had before. You used 1 ultimate and got all of that. Their Beat was atrocious. I don't. Their Lucio's not very good. Is what I'll say. Their Lucio lost them the fight before. If they had the Lucio speed, they'd probably run over you and win the fight. but they didn't, and then they lost. And also he was redditing and trying to kill somebody over there. I can't remember who. I think it was Abra, and died. And yeah, they've now got 4 ults, 5 ults almost coming in, and you need 1 fight win. In this next fight, I'd probably call a dry fight and stall. Plainly because if you know they've got 5 ults, if you know they've got all of those ults coming online, and you've just lost patch as well, dry fight. Mini, hold on to the primal rage. I know that you really haven't used primal. This is your second primal in the whole map, and the first primal you had was basically useless. It was in a fight that was guaranteed win because you had 5 ults. But you need 1 fight win. When they've got 21%, you need 1 fight win to win the map, and you've got 1 ult available. Not counting the coalescence that's almost online. Bait ults out of them. Look at their beat. What from the last fight? Okay.
Get into position.
Okay.
Oh, let's break it.
It was an optimistic beat, but it was shite. It was made... I'll tell you what makes that shite, is because the man thinks redditing and flanking is a good idea rather than looking at his team, who is here. If he was stood over here, expecting the MP to come out, he beats on here and you guys lose. Or it's a harder fight for you guys. You have to commit more into the fight and they probably win the next fight or win this fight. He threw. Their Lucio threw that. That was an atrocious beat. I can see his idea with it though. It's better than a Jasper beat. I won't lie. He didn't self beat. He did beat in this doorway, and his team were over there. It's just his team got corralled into this corner. If his team was stood here, they would have got beat. But it was just a really shite beat. Okay. So, oh, whoops. Too far. I've got spoilers of Mag throwing. You don't need to primal here. Just get ults out of them. There's 2 ults. Try and get more out. Okay, you let them flip. They're not going to commit ults now. Or they shouldn't. They've won the fight. They've won the fight. They've got 2 kills. They've used 2 ults. They've used 2 ults. If you had stayed on point, they would have felt pressured. And when a team feels pressured, they want to ult. When that glowy little circle thing in the bottom of their screen is there, and they're feeling pressured to do something, they will use their ult. And if you can force them to use their ult, they don't have that ult for the next fight. That's what I was looking for this fight. I wanted you guys to stand and stall out this point for as long as possible. I know it's hard with a window, but still, like, even if it's just feeding into the window, even if it's just standing and letting yourself die to the window, you're more likely to get an ult out by staggering the point than you are by standing engaged. So yeah, they definitely win this. This isn't this, and the problem with that as well is you probably understand the next fight is going to be really hard for you guys because you have 2 ults and they have 3. Your 2 ults are Coalescence and Beat, and they've got Bomb, Shatter, and Molten Core. You can Coalescence engage, and then beat to counter the Bomb Shatter, the Shatter Bomb that's going to come out. He's going to drop Shatter. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Another fight where... So you would have won that fight if you'd stayed on point, if you'd stood on point and staggered and baited ults out of them. Or if they ulted. They didn't, they wouldn't have, actually, they could have just not ulted. But, yeah, they didn't need the molten core though, they wasted that. But still, like, they've now got the high noon. But coming into the next fight, you've got ults. So what I'd say here, you look at your ult charge, look at your, like, the team screen. You've got EMP, you've got Blossom, you've got Bomb, and you've got Beat. You can Beat, Engage, and EMP Blossom. That's the engage I want to see. If a bomb gets thrown out, it's not a big deal. You're 96%. But beat engage and EMP blossom, because you've got no reason to hold on to the beat.
It's Hanu.
I like this from Mac. I like that Mac standing on point. You might not realize, you might not be doing it on purpose. You might not realize you're doing it, but just standing and makes them look at where they are. There's one on their Lucio's crap. He's redditing. They win so many more fights if they have their Lucio with them. Like, especially here with the High Noon, if he can speed boost him, that man can get here from there with a speed boost. But oh well. Like I said, EMP Blossom or EMP Bomb. That's a good beat engage. There's the bomb. Okay, this is the. You're doing it again! You've done it again! This one's Abra's fault. I say that, I don't know what the comms were, but... EMP bomb, you bomb first and then you EMP. The bomb's not going to go off for a whole 2 seconds. If any of them die to this bomb, I'm going to be amazed. Because none of them should die to this bomb. There's no way. There's no way that gets free. Also, to point out, I think one of them was hacked out of the 3 that they killed. Yeah. Okay. God, I hate it when you win because the enemy team are idiots. I can't teach you anything there, other than the fact I can't teach you that you should EMP after the bomb gets shot, because it's like I can't teach you to bomb first then EMP because you're not getting punished for it because you're still finding value with the bomb. Realistically, in that situation, you didn't need the EMP. You could have just bombed and they would have died. Alright, it's just yeah. Anyway. That's Illios. Honestly, you're better than last time. You're all better. You're all playing better than you were a few weeks ago. Maybe minor here and there, but you're all much better. Big things to point out for Abra and Saren. Maybe other people, but mostly them, because they're the ones that got punished for it. Realise what your threats are and what you need to avoid your threats. So Saren, the example is that bomb when you used your fade. You used your fade, but you didn't fade to a safe position. You faded out into the middle of nowhere, and then you got bombed onto. If you realised they had the bomb, you could have faded to a wall, and then realised, oh shit, I just need to walk around the corner. Same with, if you realise they've got bomb, you might play a bit safer, might hug walls more often as well, and then keep your fade as well. So when the bomb gets thrown in, you've got the fade to get away from it, or just to stand in one spot and fade and hide from it. Abra, same with same kind of thing. Realizing that torpidity on the Cassidy was much more dangerous. He's one of your threats, one of your biggest threats. He's scary to you. You don't want to decloak next to him. So like tracking where he is on the map, realizing where he is, realizing that there's 5 people stood in front of you and 1 behind you, stuff like that. Just knowing where the enemy team is. I'll always bring it up because it is really, 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 really good to do. If you know where the enemy team is, where all of the members of the enemy team is at all times, it's very easy. It's not something you communicate, it's just something you do. It's something you do in your head. When you look at the enemy team, you go, okay, I see 6 players. Okay, I can see... You know what they're going to run. You know what they're running. You know what the cooldowns sound like. You don't have to see them to know they're there. You can just hear them. You can hear them from their footsteps, from their cooldown usage, stuff like that. And just general shots as well, just shooting. Every single character has a different gun sound, and everything's unique about the game. You can recognize, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, they're all there. Where is the Cassidy? Is he on the left or the right? Okay, if he's on the left, I want to be going to the right hand side, because then he's got to move to get to me, and I can see if he's coming towards me. I can see that. And I can get away before he gets to find any value. And also it distracts him. He can't be shooting your front line if he's making a beeline for you. So yeah, realizing where your threats are, but realistically, well played. Also, the other big thing is picking up on ults and like baiting ults as well. This team that you're against, not very good. And there was that one fight which then lost you 2 more fights and got them up to 97%, where they could have possibly won it. If you look at their ult charge there, if they'd done a little bit more in the last fight, they win that. They probably could have brought this fight back. This fight could have been a much harder fight for you guys to win. And yeah, it was beautiful seeing you use the EMP and then use nothing else. But then the next fight, they had 5 ults, and realizing they had 5 ults and you didn't need to win that fight is really important. You can let them win a fight to use ults. And yeah, they carried it on too long, because then they had more ults than you did for the rest of the time. So yeah, that comes down to ult tracking and then planning. So that's more on Mini actually, with the planning when it comes to it. Somebody else can do the ult tracking. Mini, you don't need to ult track all the time. It's a good skill to have on the back pocket, but you don't need to know it. It's the picking up of if Sarin or Patch or Unflux or Abra says, okay, they've got High Noon, Molten Core, Shatter, Beat, and Bomb. Mini, you go, okay, that's 5 out of 6 ults. Let's play points. Let's still point and bait ults out. Let's get ults out of them. And then you can go a step further and go, I think they're going to use Window High Noon, which is what they did. They used Window High Noon, but if you realise they're going to use Window High Noon, actually I won't say that. That's probably a bit too much for now. But yeah, just realising what ults they've got. And when you realise there's 5 ults, when you know there's 5 ults, make it click. Go, okay, they're on 21%. We can afford to lose a fight and come back in with 4 ults. Whereas you came back in with 2 ults because you used 2 ults in the fight before, when you were already losing. Yeah? Okay. I will end this one, just so it's a separate video.